Well, thanks for having me. Excited to be here. Um, I am in the Dallas-Fort Worth area, like he said, and just I've been in real estate. This is my 10th year now, and loving it. Honestly, real estate is what I've always wanted to do. So I grew up wanting to do real estate. I went to college because people told me I couldn't. And so, not that I needed to go to college, it was just to prove to myself that I could do it. And then eventually was able to find my way back into the real estate of what I really wanted to be doing. I started on a bigger team at the end of 2019. We decided that my mom, Charmy McDonald, and I were going to launch our own team. And so that launched, of course, in January 2020 with our first listing hitting 3 days before the whole quarantine shut down. And so that was interesting to navigate through. I had babies at home. I had 3 month old when that hit. And so just really trying to figure out like how am I starting a new business and doing it with family, and also like how am I going to do this well? And so that's just been kind of how we started. And then now we have a great team. We have our amazing listing and marketing coordinator, Rose, that's with us, that literally makes us able to do what we want to do. And then we also have Tanner, who's my brother, that shows for us and is really focused on investing, the investment leg of the business as well.
That's great. Was mom already in the business when you joined, or you guys kind of formed together?
So she actually started real estate about a year before I moved back home, and started real estate alongside her. So she was on one of the bigger teams in our office. And then when I moved back home, that I just joined her and joined that team. I really enjoyed it. And I actually started as a buyer agent or a showing agent when I started, and then worked my way up into a buyer's agent
Okay,
until
so
we
this
launched.
journey, and again, I know that the journey started way up northwest and then migrated itself down to Texas, where you eventually ended at Texas Tech, right?
Mhm.
Now,
Yep.
did you study real estate or business, or was something completely unrelated?
Yeah, so I went to Texas Tech in Lubbock, and I went in because I knew I wanted to do real estate. So I went in and I said, I'm going to get a business degree, bachelor's business degree. I am severely dyslexic with a really severe ADHD as well. And so school was always really challenging for me. And so specifically math. And so I had to take, yes, to get a business degree, I had to take a business statistics class. I took it 3 times because I was determined that I was gonna get it, and I never passed, which is really embarrassing to say today, but it doesn't matter. So I actually ended up switching my major from business to family consumer sciences, which is all about the development of people and how people develop as children, how parents develop, how people work in the workplace, and how people get along kind of in society. And so that was really, um, as much as I didn't think made sense for me, I ended up really loving being able to major in that because it kind of gave me a glimpse of like why people are the way they are and how they act. Um, so yeah.
And I would think
So
that that
mhm,
that that is very useful for what we do, right? Have you
yes.
seen it manifest itself in relationships, or understanding people, and not just the disc profiles, right?
Mhm.
Uh, Again, I'm putting words in your mouth, but I would think that that's been very helpful for you.
Yeah, it's been very helpful, and to learn like how different people work together, how to better communicate. Obviously, like the disc is something that I use as well, but it's to have the knowledge like back before I even knew the disc of like how to really communicate with that person, or they were raised a certain way, so maybe they need to be, they're going to communicate better this direction or understand this better than, somebody else. And so it's just being able to communicate with people of all walks of life. So, yep. So that
Okay,
was
so
really, like really
yeah,
helpful.
this is going to move in a completely different direction than I thought, because you just brought up, well, you brought up something that I'm curious about. Because as I see Monique on, who is extremely involved with our military community, having served herself. And again, thank you for your service. Your husband, your husband was in the service,
Yeah.
and a couple of things. So, are you involved with KW military? And I just found out over about the last 6 months because of the KW community for the adult ADHD, which our buddy David Heap on the other side of the hallway is involved in. Have you are you involved with either of those, and have you looked into it? Because I think that it could be very beneficial for you.
Yeah. So I'm a part of the KW ADHD Facebook group, and I'll look in there. I'm not super engaged. I looked at KW military when I first started in the business. And honestly, I did have a limited mindset of like how that would be beneficial because there were, large bases around here and what that would look like. Now, looking back, I think that that could have actually been a really great opportunity because we see so many veterans retiring here in DFW and all around Texas because Texas is just such a better, such a friendly state for veterans. And so that would have been really helpful. It's not something that I ever have pursued them.
Okay, got it. All right. All right.
Yeah.
Well, then let's just move in
Mhm.
the direction that I thought. uh, because I've been so thrilled. I'll just say thrilled to see, I think your growth, and you might not admit to this, but I think that when I saw you join our ALC last year, one, I think because we didn't know you really, right? I mean,
Mhm.
you'd been in the office forever, and almost kind of a secret agent, and there's no disrespect there, but I've seen you grow. I've seen your leadership grow. What has being in a leadership position done for you, or has it even helped you with your business?
Yeah, it absolutely has. And I think the biggest thing that it's helped me with is honestly being in that role has helped me see myself as a leader, which has honestly helped me lead myself better. Because if I wasn't seeing myself as that leader, um, and it really I feel like all started we had made a hire for a listing and marketing role, and then it didn't end up working out. That person left a few months after we had hired, and then we were in the hiring process again, and it was honestly I love going through the hiring process and career visioning and like what that looks like because as much as it was for like finding the right person to be a part of our business, it was also a self-discovery process for me of who do I need to be to lead this person and to lead this team. And so through that process I actually had a very big realization that I was very self-focused within our business, focused on our clients, but really just it was about me and our business and what that meant. And I wasn't outwardly focused enough. And so we made the decision at that time to get offices in the at the KW office, which we had never had before. I had only been driving up here for meetings when I wanted to. I live 50 minutes away from the office, so doing that was a commitment. However, I found myself, if I'm going to do and I'm going to lead, that I need to be around people that are going to build me up. Um, and that's when I really felt like I started building a community up here and I started seeing myself as more of a leader. And I'm just very thankful that Teresa saw that in me and really pulled that out of me and asked me to be on ALC that year. And it's just been really great to kind of step in that leadership role and how it's now like, affected our business. I'm now in some leadership positions at our church. And so it's just been really neat to watch that kind of flower from there.
Well, I'll tell you, it's been exciting and neat for me because again, I didn't know you. I knew your mom better. And to see you just embrace that and be such a vocal leader on our leadership team, it's exciting to me. And I think that's what, not just the ALC, but I think that sometimes when you embrace something that you fear, that offers sometimes our best growth opportunities. And I think you're a shining example of that. So keep doing you, baby, keep doing it.
Thank you.
So um, briefly, let's talk about And again, I think this is also part of your whole leadership growth. I think there to me it looks like an obvious commitment to step into even being more visible because Christina, my right hand, has really kind of been impressed with, I think you guys, your social media. You have way more than I've ever seen before. And I don't know if that's with assistance from Rose or have you? I mean, I think I'm seeing a bigger presence. Was that a commitment from you guys at all for
Yes, it was
2025?
yeah, it was a really big commitment. And it was actually a big commitment starting in the middle of 2024. We realized that in 2024, our business, it was May 2024 specifically, our business that we had done up until that point and looking back at 2023's business was 95% database and referrals. And I don't know about you, I loved that. And I cannot have a one-legged business. It's not sustainable.
Not
And
at all.
so we had to figure out different ways that we were going to bring in business that wasn't going to also take away from the relationship aspect of our business of really building the relationships with the people that we already have relationships with. And so and going deeper there. And so that's when we really started focusing on how we could leverage technology and social media to do that. And so we actually made a really big time and financial investment into a course for Rose and I to learn all about different paid advertising sources. And it wasn't just, there's so many things in real estate, right, that we can just pay and have somebody do it for us. But it was really important for us to sit down and truly learn the skill and learn the reason why some of these paid advertising things work, why we do them, what makes sense, and how to tune them based on the market that we were in, or if it's a seller's market or buyer's market, and kind of transition our marketing the way we would need to at any time. And so we made a really big time and financial commitment to that last year. And what I really enjoyed about it has actually allowed us to show up and be on people's feeds, social media wise, without actually showing up on being on people's feeds every day.
Right.
We were doing a lot of targeted remarketing and things like that through Meta. And so we were showing up, even if I wasn't showing up that day. We
Yeah.
had one reel that would just retarget people around the internet. And so we were keeping front of mind with our clients, and we were also meeting new clients that way. And so that's been a really awesome way that we've been able to stay in front of people.
Well, it's been obvious again because it might have started with Christina, but now I see it. And as I left Vegas last week with so many of our brothers and sisters, that was one of my focuses. And it's not that I wasn't aware of it, but I know that for me personally, it's a way for our, the public to meet me before they physically meet me. And I know I've got to do a better job and a more consistent job. And so you will see you guys will see me show up bigger and better, which I'm excited about. But
Love that.
I think that I know that it's just an extension to our business.
Mhm.
So with that, do you track how many folks do you have on your Instagram, your Facebook, your YouTube? Because I now know what those numbers are for me. And it's going to be a metric that Destiny and Christina that we track. Do you guys track that at all?
Yes, so we do track that, but what we track the most is where we're getting conversions. So did somebody message us from what story or what reel or what carousel post, or was it maybe a Google, we got a call from that ad, whether it was from like a Google ad or like a real ad, something like that. So we're really focusing more on the conversion that we're getting from specific things rather than just how
Really?
many followers we have. Because I do see a lot these days as well. I don't know who said this at one point, but it really stuck with me of real estate, right? Like we're like a gas station. People aren't going to stop unless they need gas, right? And so people just kind of get busy with their own life. They're not going to pull over at a gas station if they have a full tank of gas. And so people aren't always going to follow the real estate agent if
Sure.
they don't have a real estate need, and if they know the area, and they don't need the content and the value that we're providing, because they don't need that at that time in their life. So I feel like there's a lot of people that might not follow us because they might not need us at that time, and yet it's being there when people need us, and so that might not always be followers, is what we've noticed.
Hey man, I love that. Again, it's just, you come back and there's so many things that you absorbed while you were at, a family reunion. And one that and Richie, since you're on here, you got to hold me accountable to it because Richie, forever, Richie owns follow-up results. And that's the newsletter service that I use, but I've never really paid attention to the analytics behind it. And I can tell you, I heard it 37 times at family reunion that one, we need to know the analytics. What type of, are we getting good engagement? If so, great, then do more of that. If we're not, then forget it, right? Because it's not resonating with the public. So again, I'm talking to myself here. I've got to do a better job, and I think I'll see that manifest itself into more direct messages, more content, more folks who need help. And I think that's the beauty of what we do. This is just an extension, and it's a very large CRM that we have that, we need to take better advantage of. And so I'm looking forward to that. So
Yeah, I'm glad you said that about email. We send weekly emails, and I don't know the last time I've looked at a statistic of our weekly emails.
yeah,
We need to do that.
all right. We can all grow together. That's why we're here. And I
I
can
didn't even
tell you,
think about it. Yeah.
right? I think that's what I love, not just about family reunion, but truly about family here. I tell folks that if we call ourselves a family, then we should act like one.
Mhm.
Okay. And I've never hugged and kissed more people than last week. And I love that about this firm and just our willingness to share and be vulnerable and all learn and grow together. So another thing, I know that again, this is all connected, I think, to you and your business. You guys host a few events, but one's massive. And
Mhm.
I think that it's interesting as I look at the people here, most of us all have one or two huge events that we might have, hundreds of people. How has that either benefited your business or how has it just mushroomed into what it is today? Because I know it's pretty large.
Mhm. Yeah. So we have two events. We have a fall festival, and then we also have a Santa, like a cookies and photos with Santa event. Um, and we really love those. I feel like our fall event, we tend to open up a little bit more. This year, we've had both events at Charmy's house. In the past, she lives on 2 acres, has a great just play like great yard to just gather and entertain. And so we've been able to really leverage that a lot, which has cut down on cost and has tremendously helped. However, this year, with our fall festival, we just realized that it was just getting bigger and we wanted to elevate it a little bit more. And so we actually moved it to Circle Our Ranch in Flower Mound. And we had over, I think, 150 people this year. We had our clients were bringing their friends and really just able to have time to go deep with each client. Or with each person there was huge. We've gotten referrals from people that we invited that didn't show up, and so that was beneficial. But the biggest benefit that I have is we're so relational. And so being there and actually getting belly to belly with people and going deep on like what's going on in their life was really neat. Getting to see their kids, right? Because if we meet for coffee or lunch, we're not often getting to see their kids. So getting to see their kids, getting to see their interactions with their kids and how their family works outside of, slow down, don't sit on that couch like we all see, right? When we're touring homes, it's just like a more uptight, stressful situation. And so it's just really, really awesome to be able to see them there. And then we just all feel like we get to know each other on a different level, I think.
So from that event, is your goal to have it zero based, or are you getting any contribution from, vendor partners or not really?
So this past year was the first year that we got sponsors.
Okay.
That is something that we've had a really big limiting belief around of asking people for money. And so it's definitely something that we've worked through. Our coach worked through with us a lot last year, because once we decided to move it away from Charmy's house, it, skyrocketed, like almost doubled the budget. And so it was challenging. And so we did end up getting sponsors. We do not have a zero base budget at the time, at this time, but we did get sponsors where I think we only covered like 3 or 4 thousand of the cost of the event, which in the past we were paying probably about $6,000 to $7,000 for the event. Um, and it, almost doubled when we started hosting it somewhere else, and yet our cost of it went down, which
Right.
helped.
I think again that's an opportunity for me to improve because with my huge event, yeah, I ended up this year with about 25% participation, and my goal next year is to get that to 50 and working toward 100. But I'm not sure if it'll ever be 100, and I've had a limiting belief around that, in that this is my big ta-da, right? And I don't like being beholden to anyone. And so I'm having to get over myself. And I can tell you, I also, after conversations with the coalition team, I think they're up in the DMV area or Virginia, I charged also for the event. And it went over. So, I mean, just it was fantastic. And the proceeds from that allowed me to support three of my charities. One, which is my own personal charity. And so I can tell you that's going to be a given. So every major event, especially my jazz event now, there's going to be a charge. Matter of fact, we're going to step up that next year. We're probably going to double the charge. So I think that'll allow me to support even more. And from my attendees, every one of them said, "Bid, you could have charged me 3 times what you charged me, and I was still coming." And so I think that was good information. And Richie, your ass is going to be there this coming year. So I'm just telling you. So basically, you know what? The time moves so quickly, and we're almost at our limit here. Is there anything that oh, you know what? I'm going to throw you a zinger real quick. Okay.
Okay.
All right. So with the how has a failure, how has a failure here in, let's say personally or in real estate, set you guys up for success? Is there anything that you can think of that you failed maybe miserably at, but
It
now?
builds so much. Um, but again, I am like goes back to like I was always terrible at school. Like failing was just, I failed a lot. Like I failed in high school, went to summer school. Like I failed a college course 3 times before I decided to switch my major. So failing is very normal for me, and I'm very okay with it. And so that's one thing that I think I've learned from such a young age is that failure is fine. It's great. It doesn't stop me. Um, and so I honestly don't know if I could tell you like one specific failure, but what I can say is that there's always a way. I have a deeply held belief that there is always a way, and there I just have to put in the work and figure it out, because I will come out on the better side, on the other side, with a solution. It might not be like my favorite solution, it might not be my first choice, but that failure is going to propel me forward to find what needs to happen in the end.
Well, I love that you're a shining example, and I hate that more people didn't hear you say that because we all need our northern light. We all need sometimes our lighthouse, right? To move toward, to gain inspiration from. And I think that's you for a lot of people. Now, again, I feel like I can understand that whole failing part because I failed the real estate exam twice for sure. It might have been a third time, but I remember failing it twice because I took classes at the university and I didn't have to go through champions or Kaplans or anything. And, and it had been years of taking some of those classes. I stepped right in and took the test and failed it. And, thought, okay, I failed. I think I failed math, came back and I thought, okay, I studied math, but I forgot the other, failed it again. And I remember the next time I took a prep class and then I walked in with no studying at all. It was all right here. And I remember listening to my music at the time and I stepped in and I said, Ben, you're going to crush this. Right. And I did. And 30, almost 36 years later, I still have the fortune of being here. So I made the right decision to bet on me and it worked out. And I didn't quit. And I
Mhm.
hear you not quitting
Yeah.
reminds me of probably the only lesson I learned from my college football coach was stick-to-itiveness.
Yes.
That's
Love that.
what you have, right?
Mhm.
And I think the folks who've blessed us today by jumping on here, and I know folks in this market center and around the country, if we're still at it, especially after 23 and 24,
Mhm.
we have the stick-to-itiveness that it takes to not quit when things got tough, because we're going to trend in the right direction,
Mhm.
especially if we stay at it, we stay focused, steadfast on what's truly important, and it's not the dollar bill.
Yeah.
It's serving at a high level. And you guys have done that, continue to do it because you're
Mhm.
inspiring people that you don't even know about. And that's what's exciting to me. So
Well, thank
anything
you.
else?
I
Anything
appreciate
else?
it. No, but you know what? You started talking about the test, and let me just say, I think the real estate test was the first test I probably ever passed the first time. I literally walked out of that class and like they printed off the paper, and I'm like, but where does it say like that I failed? And I took it to like the proctor, and he was like, you passed. And I was like, no, I didn't. Where does it say? Like I didn't believe that I actually passed. And so that's how I definitely knew that this is where I was supposed to be. So it's yeah, not afraid to fail.
No, you're not. And again, I think with your failure comes massive success. And I'm excited. And I know you guys have some very lofty goals this year. Matter of fact, share, okay? Because you care. Share
Yeah.
what your listing goal is. Because I heard it through the grapevine. I want to hear from you directly. Each
Yeah.
and every month, what's the goal?
Mhm. Each and every month,
Yes.
I need 6 signed listings
Okay.
every
Okay.
every month. And
Excellent.
what's super cool is so we're doing 12 a year this year. And
Yes.
here is my like this is my appointment tracker for the 12-week. And we're almost the end of February and I'm almost done. They're like, I'm like right on track. And this is probably the first time I've ever feel like I failed at my goals a lot. And this is the first time that I'm like, this is working. I'm making progress. Like we're getting there.
Yes.
And so that's really, really exciting. So I know everyone else can do it. Just don't give up and keep going.